Hello everybody, thank you for joining us for our virtual subject evening. My name's Amy Smith and I'm the marketing manager at East Coast College. Just to make you all aware, we are recording this session so we can pass it on to other students who were unable to join us tonight, but none of your details will be able to be seen in the recording. So this session is going to be looking at our hospitality and catering courses. So you will be hearing from some of our tutors who will give you an overview of what the courses involve and the kind of things you'll be doing. And then we will have some time at the end when we can answer your questions as well. So you will see on your screen along the bottom a little Q&A box. As we go through the presentation, if you've got any questions, anything springs to mind, please feel free to type it in the box and then we will answer the questions all together at the end once we have finished the presentation. So first of all, I am going to hand you over to one of our tutors, Jane, who is going to take you through some information about our level 1 course. So over to you, Jane.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm going to just give you a general overview of the level 1 programme that we study at both Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft campuses. Both campuses deliver the same, and we teach the same tutors teach across both campuses. So there is that continuity whether they're at Yarmouth or a Lowestoft campus. So for the level 1 course, it's called the Introduction to the Hospitality and Catering Industry, and the units that we sort of cover are an introduction to the catering hospitality. We also do customer service. Part of the course is that we actually do have like some customer contact, whether it's directly through our training restaurant or through food sales that we serve from our kitchens of food that we've produced. We also look at healthy eating. So very often what we do is we produce dishes that we are sort of looking ahead towards level 2 qualification. So things that we would naturally serve in our training restaurant, which would then mirror the catering and hospitality outlets, such as for hotels, restaurants, things like that. So what we do is we take a basic dish, so one of the dishes that we serve, and we look at it as to how we can make that more healthy. So we're always sort of continuously thinking about nutrition and healthy eating at the moment. We're looking at basic food preparation and cooking and commodity. So everything that we use at the college is supplied for us for the students to cook within the kitchens. And we look as to how we can prepare, cook and serve those dishes, whether it's, as I say, to sort of through to the public, or whether it's to sort of like a food sales outlet. We do have to look at kitchen equipment. Obviously, health and safety is one of the first units that we cover. So talk about that very early on as to how to make sure that we work safely, hygienically within the kitchens, and also the training restaurants if we're based over at East in Lowestoft. But how to use kitchen equipment, and these are pieces of equipment that you would find out in the trade as well. So again, in hotels, restaurants, all the equipment that we have sort of is what you would expect to find out in those establishments as well. Some of the units that we also cover are we do sandwiches, hot wraps, cold wraps. We do lots of cakes and pastries, looking at cooking methods. And if the opportunity arises once COVID has settled down, we very often sort of assist in hospitality events. So things like graduation, where we can celebrate students' achievements over the year, and have an event where the students prepare, cook, and then we actually serve the food to the graduates and their families and friends. So with the course, it's mostly practically based. Obviously, there is theory involved with that as well. And the course would also involve tutorials and PSD. Every single student that comes to the college will have a tutorial session, PSD sessions, and this is sort of makes up the course. But as I say, most of it is practical. Obviously, the theory is covered in our theory sessions. So with the level 1 programme, this is anybody who comes through who hasn't got the GCSEs, and this gives us an opportunity for the students then to study towards their maths and English to hopefully then progress and gain those qualifications as well while they're studying at college. And then this nicely leads on to our level 2 programs. So we then move on to a level 2 program, whether it's kitchen services or professional cookery. So it depends on what grades they come through with. And then that can progress on to level 3, which I will kindly pass over to Mr. Patterson.
Okay, so once students come through kitchen services or come in with the relevant grades, then obviously we go straight into MVQ level 2 professional cookery. So in a nutshell, that is professional cookery aimed at equipping you with the skills to work within the hospitality industry anywhere around the world. City and Guilds is recognised around the world. So we haven't got much time, so I'll just skim over what we get up to. So we cook for our train and restaurant, hopefully, when it gets open. Obviously, COVID shut that this year, but that'll looking like that'll be open, and we'll be working in that next year. We cover everything that you'd expect to find if you went out for a meal. So that would be starters, main course, desserts. Students, how are they assessed? Okay, so it's broken, the folder is broken into different areas. So it might be prep meat, prep fish, cook fish, etc. Cakes, desserts, pastries, bread, and the list goes on. And what we do through the year, we work in our relevant sections, we rove around the kitchen, and as we become competent in these areas, then so the assessments take place through the year. So you don't end up sitting a great big test at the end. You gather your assessments and pass your assessments as you go through the course. So that's why we continually say from the beginning that attendance is important, because you'll be assessed as we go right through the year. Level 2 students are encouraged to get part-time work as soon as they can, because that backs up what you're doing at college very nicely. And the main thing, of course, is out of all of this is that you gain the skills to be able to work in the industry. And if you're working whilst you're at college, them skills come a lot more quicker. And also, if you're at work, you're more likely to be offered full-time employment once your college course comes to an end. There is some work experience that we ask students to do through the year. So that's a busy year. Once level 2 is under your belt, then obviously you've got the chance to progress to level 3. So a question that I could be asked is what's the difference between the levels? Level 3 goes up a peg in terms of quality and skills. So level 2 will probably cook the lunches, so it'd be more bistro style, whereas level 3 is a lot more finesse. We use the more expensive cuts of fish and meat, and the skill level is that little bit higher. So the desserts and the cookery is that little bit more intricate, that little bit more of high class presentation. So that's, we're aiming really at level 3 for students to be able to leave and then progress into industry, into bars and restaurants all around the world. Really, we've got students from East Coast College in every corner of the world from over the last 20-30 years. There's some really good jobs been sought by past students. Again, the assessments for level 3 are done through the year, so there's no big end of year test. It is really about being in when the timetable says you're in, and then everyone then hopefully keeps up to date and stays on track. So these assessments are done as they go. The one thing we are really keen on at the college is is to promote your skills. And you know, if one of you guys comes in with a particular recipe that you think you might want to try, if it fits into the criteria and we're up to date, then I'm definitely very happy to say, yeah, let's have a look at it. Let's see if it fits in, and let's see if we can sell it to the customers. You know, it's about making you the best person that we can for employment. So level 3, once that's done, of course, we mustn't forget about progression after level 3. There is routes. Students don't have to just finish and go into work. There's the chance to go to the Edge Hotel School, which is a university inside a hotel, if you like. We've had a few students go there, and obviously that then equips you with the skills to go into possibly management level and progress through the routes. So I want to knock that the old saying on the head of there's no money in catering. That may be the case at the early start. It's tough to get going, but the rewards really, as much as you put in is what you're going to get out. I think that pretty much goes for everything. But catering really does open those avenues anywhere around the world to make yourself a good quality living if you really want it. And I think that about sums it up really for level 3.
I was just going to mention about the hospitality services level 2. Over at Lowestoft campus, we have our East Training Restaurant, and for those who start off at level 1, there's the opportunity to progress onto the level 2 hospitality services or food and beverage services qualification, and this is where the students actually serve customers paying public in our training restaurant. So food produced by the students, either level 2 at lunch or level 3 in the evening. We have students in the restaurant who then function the restaurant as in a real working restaurant environment. So in there they will be dealing with the public. So obviously customer service is absolutely paramount, giving customers a positive impression of yourself. We learn bar skills, so looking at different beers, wines, that sort of thing, obviously correct measures, following the licensing law. And we also obviously greet customers, take customer orders, serve customers, and we look at the barista skills as well. So learning the basics for anything that the students would be working if they were to work in the restaurant side rather than just the chefing route of preparing and cooking food.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Jane and David. That's brilliant. Thank you for taking us through those different the different courses we offer. So now it's time for your questions. So as I said, please feel free to pop anything you'd like to ask into the Q&A box, and we will answer them now. So we've had a couple that have already come through, so we will get started with those straight away. So the first one says, you've mentioned the East Restaurant. How often will I get the chance to prepare food and serve and work in the restaurant?
Okay, so timetables obviously differ every year, but if we look at this year, to give you an overview, the way the course is built up, we try to get each student on a cookery course has a prep session and then a cooking session in the restaurant. So what you do is you're following the process through from the preparation through to the cooking. So for example, students may be doing the meat and fish prep one afternoon or one morning, ready for the session possibly the following day. So that way we follow the process through from start to finish.
And then students who are on either the hospitality services or food and beverage course, they would be in the restaurant on the days that the restaurants are open or the evening of. So they would gain the skills that for the food service side of things.
Great. Yeah, no, that sounds brilliant. And David, what kind of things do they cook in the restaurant then? Can you give us a few examples of things that they tend to serve?
Yes, I can. Yeah. Things that we do. Let's divide it up into lunch and evening service. We do a lunch service for level 2, so that's a bit more bistro-y. By that I mean that could be things like fresh fish and chips. And when when we say the fish and chips, I don't just mean we cut open some chips and put them on a tray and away we go. We cut our own. Everything's as fresh as possible. Our fish comes in whole. We'd be expected to fillet it and debone it and skin it and do everything ourselves. So we could do anything from fresh fish and chips through to a boned out loin of pork. Students today were boning their own joints of pork and tying those and roasting those up, making everything from scratch, their own gravy, their own apple sauce. We leave tins and jars alone as much as possible. Things like tomato puree and chopped tomatoes, of course, but and every session, the restaurant, every session requires fresh bread made. That's both lunch service and evening service. And of course, my favourite bit, we have lovely desserts that also need making as well, which could be anything from fresh cheesecakes through to fresh gâteaux, and we also do our own ice cream as well. So we go right through the range.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. You've made me feel very hungry, I think. So we've had another question in. What might my timetable look like in a usual week?
Again, if we look at timetables this year, although obviously COVID's has affected us, students have still very much done their cooking course. The only difference is we've gone click and collect as opposed to serving customers face to face, sat in the restaurant. So both areas, both kitchen and front of house, at the moment are still very busy. A timetable at the moment for kitchen services, Yarmouth based, has been 2 practical sessions on a Monday and a Tuesday afternoon. Both Monday and Tuesday mornings, there could be maths and English being undertaken if that's needed. Then there's a practical session on a Wednesday morning. So there's 3 good practical sessions there. Alongside that, of course, there's some theory and tutorials and bits and pieces like that. That's the kitchen services at Yarmouth. The professional cookery group at Lowestoft campus, they're doing a Monday morning, then a kitchen service on a Wednesday and a kitchen service on a Friday. And amongst that as well, they've got some theory and tutorials, and obviously top up of maths and English if it's needed.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you. And you did just touch on it there, and somebody's asked as well, with obviously the pandemic, quite a large amount of hospitality has been closed, but I think things are starting to reopen now, aren't they? So would you say it's now a really good time to train up because the industry is going to be booming again?
Well, I work in industry myself as well, and I can tell you exactly. I've never seen so many hospitality jobs available as what there is right now. I think the truth of it is a lot of people haven't had their holidays. People haven't been able to get out. Quite a lot of families have managed to save a little bit more money, and I think people really, in general, want to let their hair down. And of course, us in hospitality, we're the ones who take care of the hospitality, whether that be eating food or drinking in a bar or cafe or whatever. So yes, there is lots and lots of jobs available. A key thing to mention at that point, because I did mention about work and possibly getting part-time jobs, we have a Facebook page, East Coast Restaurant, and we do keep that up to date with jobs that are coming in from hospitality. They phone us regular and are looking for staff. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Another question here. Somebody's asked, is there a uniform, and would I have to purchase one?
Yep, we have a college uniform, so that everybody looks the same and everybody's wearing the correct uniform. Obviously, our uniform that we wear for the kitchens and for the restaurant are classed as PPE, so personal protective equipment. And we use a company that specialises in catering equipment and uniforms. So once students have accepted their places on the course, we send out all the relevant uniform forms to them. So this includes skull caps, chef's jackets, aprons, chef's trousers, safety shoes. We have a set of knives, and then depending on which course they're doing, that might also include the restaurant uniform, so shirts, black trousers, and aprons that we wear for the restaurant service side of things. The uniform is in the region of just over £200, but that usually sets you up for the whole duration as to while you're at college, so possibly up to 3 years. If people are on any sort of benefits or income support, there are bursaries available. We just work with student finance, but otherwise, you know, you would need to pay for those yourself. But the nice thing is everybody looks absolutely amazing once they've got their uniform. You feel part of a team, it's something to be proud of, especially when we do events and things as well, which is lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this might be our final question. I think you touched on it slightly, David, but can you tell us a bit more about the work experience opportunities? Do students find their own placements, or have you got contacts with places you help with, and what kind of places locally do students usually go to?
So work experience, if honest, I think it's always good if a student does find their own place, because that tends to mean they're where they want to be. Mm-hmm. Although the college obviously is continually making contacts with employers, and yeah, we've got quite a good base of work experience placements. That could be anywhere from a good quality caf up to the more high spec hotels such as the Imperial at Yarmouth or the Wherry Hotel in Lowestoft. It could be anywhere like that, really. Yeah.
Great. So if there's somewhere in particular a student would like to go, then they are encouraged to sort something themselves. And then
yeah, I would always encourage students to look, and I mean, by gaining their own work experience, obviously you gain self-confidence as well. I mean, going into somewhere or writing a letter or an email is a big thing. You know, to starts that ball rolling. And I think a lot of employers as well respect the fact that somebody's been bothered to actually ask and do something themselves. You know, I think it puts you in good stead for possibly getting a good work experience placement.
Yeah, and we do have a placement coordinator, and at the moment she's inundating us with so many places that are looking for students to do work experience. So she coordinates all the health and safety risks, making sure that everything is in place so it's safe for the students to go out there, and you know, just make sure that it's the right environment for our students to go to. And like David said, you know, there's cafes, there's restaurants, there's hotels, and other establishments as well. Something that sometimes we might not necessarily think of, oh, that's really good, but as long as it's catering linked, and it's something that perhaps the student wants to progress and, you know, pursue in their future career, then that's a really good environment for them to go to.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of our session. So thank you once again for joining us. As you'll see on screen at the moment, that's our website. So if you visit www.eastcoast.ac.uk, you can find out more information about our catering and hospitality courses, and then you can hit the apply now button, and if you haven't already done so, fill in our online application and apply to join us in September. There's also an email on screen, here to help at eastcoast.ac.uk. If you've got any questions after this session, or if you want to find out more about the college itself or the support on offer, then please feel free to send an email through to that, and a member of our team will get back to you and organise a one-to-one chat with you that way. So thank you once again for joining us. We hope you found that useful, and we hope to see you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.